Part 4. The hunger of the house. I stared at the blank wall where the front door had been, my breath coming in short, shallow gasps. It wasn't just missing, it had been erased. The ornate frame, the brass handle, even the small welcome mat I placed outside were all gone. What the hell? I whispered, spinning round. The house loomed around me, its walls stretching and shifting as if it were alive and breathing. Every creak of the floorboards felt deliberate. Every shadow cast by the dim light seemed to crawl closer. Panic surged through me, but I fought it down. I couldn't afford to lose my head. I was here to uncover the truth about the Eldridge house, and it was clear the house wasn't going to make it easy. I set up my camera on a tripod in the center of the entry hall. Day 3. I began, my voice trembling. The house has changed. Doors are disappearing, hallways are shifting, and I don't think I'm alone here anymore. I paused, glancing toward the grand staircase where the hand had grabbed me. The mark on my wrist still throbbed, dark veins spreading outward from the bruise. I need to figure out what's going on before it's too late, I said. Ending the recording, I decided to search the house again, this time focusing on places I hadn't explored thoroughly. The dining room is next. The table, long enough to seat 20 people, was covered in a thick layer of dust, and the chairs were pushed neatly against it as if waiting for guests who would never arrive. A sudden clink made me jump. One of the glasses on the table had moved, sliding an inch across the surface. I turned, and my blood ran cold. The chandelier above the table swayed gently, its crystals catching the dim light. But it wasn't the movement that scared me, it was the sound. Soft footsteps echoed around the room, but I couldn't see anyone. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice shaking. The footsteps stopped. Silence fell, heavy and oppressive, and then a single word whispered through the air, chilling me to the bone. "Leave." "I would if I could," I muttered, backing out of the room. The whisper followed me into the hallway, repeating the same word over and over, growing louder and more distorted with each repetition. "Leave, leave, leave." I clamped my hands over my ears, stumbling down the hall until I reached the kitchen. Slamming the door shut behind me, I leaned against it, trying to catch my breath. The kitchen was just as I remembered it, dimly lit, with cobwebs draping the corners and rusted appliances lining the counters. But something was off. The smell of lavender was back, stronger than ever. On the counter sat an old teapot, steam rising from its spout. I hadn't boiled any water. The teapot whistled, its sound sharp and piercing, and then it screamed. The noise was inhuman, a high-pitched wail that made my ears ring. I knocked the teapot to the floor, shattering it, but the sound didn't stop. It grew louder, reverberating through the walls. Then the walls began to bleed. Dark, viscous liquid seeped from the cracks in the plaster, pooling on the floor around me. The stench of rot and metal filled the air, making me gag. I bolted from the kitchen, slipping on the slick floor as the whispers returned, louder and angrier than before. The house was alive, and it was furious. I found myself in the library, slamming the door shut behind me. The books on the shelves trembled, their pages fluttering as if caught in a wind that didn't exist. I collapsed into a chair, clutching my camera like a lifeline. "This house isn't haunted," I said to the lens. "It's a predator. It's feeding on me, on my fear, my panic. It wants to break me." As if to confirm my words, the whispers turned into laughter, deep, guttural, and echoing from every corner of the room. I picked up the keeper's journal again, flipping through the brittle pages. One passage caught my eye, the ink darker and messier than the rest. "The house demands sacrifices. Without them, it will wither and die. The keeper must offer the chosen to sustain it." Chosen? Was that me? A loud bang interrupted my thoughts. The door to the library had flung itself open, and standing in the doorway was a shadowy figure. It was tall and featureless, its presence suffocating. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest as the figure stepped forward, its movements jerky and unnatural. "Stay back," I stammered, holding the camera up like a shield. The figure didn't stop. It reached out, its long fingers stretching toward me, and I felt the same cold grip that had grabbed me in the bedroom. Pain shot through my chest, and I collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. The last thing I saw before everything went black was the figure leaning over me, its empty face inches from mine. To be continued.